Ron Paul is radical. He's not mainstream. These are two claims loudly professed by many who speak against the presidential candidacy of Dr. Ron Paul, Republican of Texas. For those not familiar with Ron Paul, he is a 10-term congressman who is running for president in 2008. He has ignited a large grassroots following that raised over $18 million in the fourth quarter and set a one-day contribution record of more than $6 million on the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party, December 16th. These impressive money-raising campaigns were not from the campaign, but from outside the campaign, strictly produced by the volunteers across the country and the brainchild of Trevor Lyman, who have all embraced Paul's message of liberty and freedom based on the original guidance of the U.S. Constitution as written and accepted by the 55 enlightened men over 220 years ago. In the last Republican debate, a question was asked of each candidate what New Year's resolution they would encourage one of the other candidates to set for themselves. His radical answer? My advice would be to reread the oath of office, take it seriously, obey the Constitution. We are well defended against all enemies foreign. We should be much more careful about defending against the enemies domestic. It is easy for opponents to point to Dr. Paul's positions and claim he is radical and not in touch with mainstream America due to his focus on reducing the size and scope of the federal government to that which is granted in the U.S. Constitution. It is easy to call him radical when he speaks of ways to end the IRS and replace it with nothing. It is easy to confuse his foreign policy position of non-intervention as being somehow tied to isolationism or pacifism when neither is at all connected to Thomas Jefferson's and the founder's structure of non-intervention. It is easy to scoff at him for wanting to end the Department of Education, even easier still to make a false claim he therefore must be against public education, which is far from the truth of his belief. Public education is better handled from the home, community, and state levels rather than the inept ability of a federal bureaucracy. It is too easy to label his views radical and not in the mainstream, since most don't study in depth what our U.S. Constitution truly allows for the federal government, and many don't understand the personal responsibilities our nation was founded upon. His opponents are hoping these labels will be enough for you to cast your vote away from Ron Paul, but just what is radical and not mainstream? As a noun, mainstream is defined as the prevailing current of thought. Those who claim Ron Paul is not mainstream are saying clearly the prevailing current of thought is against the enforcement and measurements set forth in the U.S. Constitution. If we are to accept Dr. Paul as being outside the mainstream, then we must also accept the prevailing current of thought is more inclined to embrace the oligarchy corporatism prevalent in our current federal government. We must accept the many powerful lobby groups influencing our daily direction as acceptable thoughts or within the mainstream. We accept our current preemptive interventionist foreign policy as mainstream. Also mainstream is the practice of income taxation and code manipulation, out-of-control welfare systems, poorly performing bureaucracies, and policies leading the citizens to less freedom in exchange for presumed security. Benjamin Franklin's 1755 words, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety," can also be considered not mainstream. Two applicable definitions for radical are a person who holds or follows strong convictions or extreme principles, an extremist; a person who advocates fundamental political, economic, and social reforms by direct and often uncompromising methods. A simple study of Dr. Paul's voting record shows the very reason he is known as Dr. No on Capitol Hill, as well as showing why lobby groups avoid him. He does hold strong convictions. His methods are often uncompromising. He is extreme in upholding his oath of office. For those wondering what the oath states, it is, "I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter." Nowhere does it state a member of Congress will uphold the desire and direction of the party majority leader. It does not state anywhere to uphold the desires of powerful lobbying groups. There is no sentence in the oath to do as the person sees fit, nor does it give any doubt. The directives spelled out in the U.S. Constitution are the directives a congressman is to follow. So why is Ron Paul a radical extremist for taking his oath seriously? The question voters should be asking is, why don't all congressmen take their oath as serious as Dr. Paul? Based on the definitions, I would have to agree Ron Paul is radical and not mainstream. Most of the leading candidates tout proudly they are the one who shall bring change to Washington, D.C. The media claims citizens of the United States are seeking true change, real dramatic changes to better the lives of the current and, more importantly, all future generations. The last time that level of change occurred, it was by the hard, enlightened efforts of 55 men assembled to develop an unprecedented form of government. The document they produced was radical and not mainstream. It was merely the most brilliant attempt at governing a civil society based on liberty, freedom, and personal responsibility ever attempted. When you listen to the candidates and the media, ask yourself if there is anyone among them that will take the presidential oath of office and uphold it with strong conviction. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The oaths were developed to uphold Article 6, Clause 3. The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several state legislatures and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. For real change, to truly set our course for a better future, perhaps you should seriously think of voting for a man that is considered by some to be radical, and not mainstream, to be radical, and not mainstream.